friends!
Good morning!
From around the world! So great to have you with us again this morning for another episode of
Blissin Out!
Carly, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great this morning, Dave. I'm super excited to be here. It's a beautiful, fresh day here in Playa Hermosa. And yeah, I'm super stoked about our guest today.
Yes! Today we have quite a guest for you. It's so exciting, actually. His name is Mark Angelo Coppola. You've probably heard of him. He's one of the founders of the Valhalla movement, an amazing sustainability, education, and storytelling movement, which he will tell us all about. He's one of the architects of the Superhero Academy,
which you'll learn more about later if you don't already know about it.
Absolutely. Yeah, like this guy's videos and the different projects he's involved in have like constantly kind of like come into my consciousness through different avenues. And this guy is doing some amazing work in the world.
Some very cool stuff.
He's very involved in building tribes and creating change. He wants to make the world a better place, and he's actually doing something about it, doing lots of things about it.
Lots of things. And it's amazing, too, how people are using social media these days to make some positive change, eh, Dave?
Oh, yeah.
Karma Tribe's a good example of that. Spreading some positive change, some good vibes, doing it online.
Yeah, I personally feel, Carly, that we are in the Super Bowl of the universe at a really exciting time where if we have an important message, we can literally get it out to tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people. And it's powerful. And I think we have a responsibility to spread positive messages and hope and tools. And it's super exciting that we can do that now. And that's a lot. That's what Mark has been doing. That's what we're trying to do.
For sure.
And hey, just in case you have not heard yet, could you please type in, I'll do it, karmatribe.com, guys. This is our project.
Check it out.
It is a global network of people willing to help each other for free. That's right, for free.
For free. That's some powerful stuff right there.
So on karmatribe.com, you can make a profile and you can offer anything that you would like to offer. And you can request anything that you need. And the idea is that what's difficult for one person can be easy for another. And why not leverage technology to communicate better with each other and find out if there's someone nearby who can help you with something that you need.
Or maybe not even nearby, maybe online. Maybe you reach out to them online and you can connect that way. It's really cool. You have to check it out. And as well, you have to remember, it's super important too that when somebody puts out an offer, it's just as meaningful to accept that offer. So don't be afraid to accept somebody's offer.
Yeah, exactly. Like when you open yourself up to receiving something from someone, you give them a gift of being able to share what they love, and it's the beginning of a new friendship.
Absolutely.
And I myself have had so many amazing interactions on Karma Tribe. I'm teaching English to a girl in Colombia. I'm learning Portuguese from a Greek girl who spent many years in Brazil. And I'm connecting with people in Finland and Spain, around Canada. And every single interaction I've had on Karma Tribe has brought so much to my life in unexpected ways.
Amazing. That's so special, Dave. And the opportunities are endless. Amazing.
So
tell us where you're coming from this morning if you're tuning in with us.
Yeah, absolutely do. And without any further ado, Carly, I would like to bring on the man of the hour, the very inspiring Mark Angelo Coppola. Mark, hello, sir.
Hey, Mark.
Wow. I don't think I've ever received such an amazing, powerful, energetic intro. That's amazing. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thank you for being here. That's what we're all about here at Karma Tribe. Good vibes, good vibes. So, Mark, can you tell me like a little bit about yourself? I would like to know you because we're just meeting for the first time this morning, actually. So I would love to know a little bit more about you. Tell me your story.
Yeah, sure. So Okay, where do you start when somebody says tell your story? So I was born in Montreal.
Canadian.
Yeah, born and raised in Montreal. That's where I'm coming to you live from right now. But I guess my story kind of took a drastic shift in my life when, as I was graduating from university, I decided I was going to start watching a documentary a week. And the real idea behind it was that I was going to kind of remove this concept of letting schooling get in the way of my education, right? Like, thinking that the only place I can learn was going to be in a university or wherever else I was going to be. And so I decided that I was going to watch a documentary each and every single week for 52 weeks straight, so an entire year. And I got to say that absolutely changed my entire life. It changed my entire outlook on what was happening and what that looked like from just so many different angles, right? I mean, I was learning about climate change. I was learning about fracking and peak oil. I was learning about the disappearance of coral and just so many problems. And what really stood out to me was that each and every one of these documentaries was kind of pointing at a problem. And they were spending 95% of their time pointing at a problem. They were spending only about like 5% of the time saying we have to do something or just sounding the alarm. But there was never really any real way forward. It was like, I always felt so small and helpless. I always felt so, yes, I had been empowered with this knowledge. Yes, I had been enraged with this kind of new idea, this new mission or this new thing that I had to bring into my sphere of awareness. But I never felt like there was anything I could do. And so, I decided to keep doing that. I've been doing it now for 7.5 years. So I've been watching a documentary every week. Normally I would do that on Sundays. I would do that this morning, for example. And the concept was that eventually I recognized that we needed a good news revolution. We actually needed a solution-based approach to what people can actually do about the challenges that they are facing and experiencing in any given moment. And the only way that was going to happen is that we needed networks, we needed media, we needed what I was trained in, which was in marketing and storytelling, let's say. We needed to bring that to the masses. We needed to create brands and initiatives and stories and community spaces that literally embodied this kind of new solution-based approach. And we had to do it while making it more freeing and fun for people. And so we decided to kind of embark on this mission. I decided to embark on this mission where I walked out into the middle of a GMO corn and soya field. And basically, imagine nothing but flat earth that had been, pulverized by Monsanto chemicals. And I planted a tree. And I basically declared that I was going to build the school I wish I could have gone to. And in my mind, I was going to build that school physically. I was going to build a real movement. I was literally starting a revolution in my mind. And I really do believe I don't want to say I started it, but I definitely participated in that revolution by doing that. And over time, it ended up also flourishing into an online movement. And so that's what the Valhalla movement is. That's what Superhero Academy is. And I kind of started moving in this direction. And as I kind of aged and I matured, I started to recognize like more and more that, this wasn't just a problem that I had kind of felt. This was an actual problem. Like there are 80 articles that talk about the problem of climate change for every one article that talks about the solution, which I might add is probably in soil and carbon sequestration. I'll just throw that out there. But the idea meaning, there's all of these challenges. We're experiencing this on a day-to-day basis. How do we deal with that? How do we take that on? And that's what the Valhalla movement is. We're literally building an eco-village here in Montreal. You start an online school that teaches what I would call philanthropreneurship. So entrepreneurship that kind of allows people to be empowered, to live a career, to kind of invest in the ROI of return on investment, the traditional ROI, but also recognize that the ROI of ripple of impact is everything. It's so important that we have that mentality that business is a way forward, that entrepreneurship and stepping into your own power, stepping into whatever it is that gets you excited is so incredibly powerful. And so, yeah, it's I guess part of my story in a nutshell.
That's amazing. Wow. Thank you for sharing that. That's incredible. I feel like when you were talking about, when you're watching, for example, a documentary, so much of it was aimed at a problem and not enough at a solution. I definitely have seen that and experienced that. And sometimes when I'm watching, social media campaigns and stuff like that online, I've expressed, and I've talked to Dave a little bit about it. We spoke about it this morning a little bit, that sometimes when I'm watching videos that want to make positive change, stories that want to make positive change, I can't always grasp exactly what is the general message, what's the solution to the problem, right? So that's really cool that you guys are doing that. So tell me a little bit more about the Valhalla movement. Tell me more about that for our audience.
Yeah, absolutely. So in the vein of the solution, I mean, the first thing that came to me was, I know nothing about the solution. I had never heard of things like permaculture. I knew nothing about eco-construction. I never planted anything in my life. I never done and built anything. I was just a dude. I was just a guy who had learned about all these things. And I had gone down this like depressive, totally manic, crazy rabbit hole that I just didn't know where I needed to turn. But what kind of felt right to me at the time was like, we need more trees. Like there needs to be more gardens. There needs to be more trees. And essentially what I really wanted to do is I wanted an alternative to the system, but that didn't destroy the system, that just built a new system. Right. So it's that whole Buckminster Fuller quote. It's like, you're not going to change the old paradigm by kind of trying to tear it down. You're going to change the old paradigm by building a better one, a newer one that kind of makes the old one obsolete. And so, to paraphrase, Buckminster Fuller. So that was exactly what I was doing. I was going out to literally build the school, the town, the space, the food that I wanted for myself, that I would wish I had growing up. And it's not that my parents had failed me. It's not that society had done everything wrong. It's just that I was no longer able to continuously participate in some of the things that I had learned about. And so I really just had to do something. I had to participate in a different way. And the way that I wanted to do that was literally just showing up. It's like planting a tree, building an eco-village. And so the Valhalla movement was born literally because the first smart thing that I ever did in my life was plant that tree. But the second smart thing I ever did in my life is I pulled out my phone and I took a picture, right? Like I literally took the most powerful technology you can ever possibly have at this moment, or at least in this, period of time. And I told the story of what I was doing. And I didn't know exactly what I was going to do, but I knew that it had to happen. And I knew that if I took a picture and I put it on Facebook and Instagram, it would just it would mushroom up. It would just bubble to the surface. And so it kind of inspired me to recognize that even the impossible was possible, that all of a sudden, these things that I knew nothing about were now becoming this thing that I was learning. And over time, we ended up building an Earthship. We crowdfunded for that. We literally, Earthships, for those of you who don't know, are buildings built out of tires, bottles, and cans, recycled material. We crowdfunded for that. We started a permaculture farm. We started taking over. Hundreds and thousands of people started paying attention online. We built a beautiful website that people visited. We grew a Facebook page that took off and helped build a bunch of other movements and pages. I mean, it was absolutely amazing. It was truly, we had tapped into something, and I say we because it really is a community of people. We had tapped into this notion, and this notion that I love to call this is called freedom culture. We had tapped into freedom culture, right? To empower and encourage all individuals to spread their unique gifts to the world. Because at the end of the day, that's what you want to do. You want to be empowered to just live that life of freedom and to live it as free as you possibly can. And that's why we're drawn towards off-grid solutions. That's why we're drawn towards solar panels and these kinds of things, because it gives us that sense of entitlement and kind of independence that we are longing for. Because we have no, we think that we vote in our elections with our vote, and we try, and we've all heard, or many of us have heard of like voting with your dollar. But I think it was like, this was the next tier. It's like, okay, I'm going to vote in my elections. I'm going to vote with my dollar. I'm going to vote with my attention. What I watch grows, right? If I pay attention to a plant and I water it all the time, it grows. But what I pay attention to on Facebook, right over here, this grows. Whatever you pay attention to grows. And most importantly for me, it was taking the action. If I take the action and go out there and make it happen, that grows. And so that's what the Valhalla movement is. It's about spreading this eco-village, not only here in Montreal, but now we have a second location in Vermont. And I'm looking for, some locations in Costa Rica, actually, believe it or not. I come to Costa Rica regularly. So to me, it's a global movement. It's a movement that's going to happen everywhere, and it's not because of me. It's totally because of the idea behind it. And there's nothing more powerful than an idea whose time has come. Like it's just happening. It just needs to happen.
Perfect. Thank you. Yes, I absolutely agree. And I think some of our viewers as well agree. I'd like to say hi to Elena, who says, congrats, guys, on bringing this speaker. And I'd also like to say hi to Zita, hashtag plant a tree for legacy.
Woo! I agree with that.
Zita. And also I'd like to say hi. Wow, we have so many viewers here. Emma, hello, guys. I really love your program. Thanks for such an enriching topic.
Oh, thank you.
So we have lots of people tuning in to watch us today, to watch you, Mark, and to listen to what you have to say. So thank you so much. Wow, thanks so much for sharing with me. I really, really appreciate that. You are super inspiring to listen to, and just it's so obvious that you are so passionate about this. You're so inspired. So where does your inspiration like really, really come from? Where do you find your daily inspiration to get up in the morning and have this energy and like really go for it?
Yeah, wow. It comes from a multitude of different things. I think number one is like I've found out what makes me tick, right? Like I figured out over time, over years. It's not something I do every morning. It's something that like I figured out over time because I created stuff like the Valhalla movement. And what makes me tick is enabling people to feel empowered, to recognize that they can have an impact, that Obama or Oprah or Ellen DeGeneres or anybody who you might idolize, anybody who you look up to in any way, shape, or form is just an everyday person. And as I recognize that I can kind of achieve these amazing everyday things that I always thought would be reserved for people who are on TV or somewhere else, but that I can actually live them, that I can actually do them, I was like, wait a second. Why don't I? Why don't I live my impossible? And why don't I kind of empower others to do the same? And I recognize that, at the end of the day, the solutions to the world's biggest challenges, the real thing that a philanthropreneur needs to bring forward is broken down from the perspective of feeling like we are too small to change anything. And so if I can empower a single individual, if this message, if this Facebook Live, if anything that I do can hit one person to awaken and feel ignited and alive, then I want to be that flame. There's this very wise, I guess, Buddhist philosophy that comes from the idea that, you can literally light 1,000 candles, 1,000,000 candles with a single flame. And so I try and be that flame. I try and wake up every day and just say, what can I do to ignite? What can I do to bring passion and energy to everything that I do? How can, and I think the philosophy for me really stems from that kind of Buddhist mentality, that flame. And then also a very simple, very, very simple philosophy, which is how you do anything is how you do everything. If I wake up in the morning and I leave my bed completely in disarray and I throw everything all over the place and I don't take care of myself, if I don't take care of those around me, then in reality, I'm going to be doing that everywhere else in my life, right? And so how you do anything is how you do everything. And that kind of carries me forward. That drives me to be better than the person I was yesterday, I guess.
Well, I love that. Well, you're definitely inspiring me this morning. So there's your one person you've inspired today. So well done. Excellent. I love talking to you. And we have a special guest this morning, ladies and gentlemen, the newest member of the Karma team, Sabriel. Sabriel has some questions for you, Mark. So thank you so much for chatting with me.
Yeah, great.
Whoa! Holy shit! You are my spirit animal! Woo! Hi. I'm Sabriel.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Coppola. I just want to say that just watching this for the last 5 minutes sitting right there, I resonate with you on such a deep level. Like, we were meant to be right here, right now, having this conversation because, man, we're all lighting that flame. This is what Karma Tribe's all about, is taking that flame and just passing it along. And I got a fire inside me that's burning, just like, whew, I'm ready to interview Oprah and Ellen after we're done interviewing you. So that's how I feel, like dream big. Dream big. These visions and these ideas are coming down for a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful purpose. So
I just want to thank you for the work that you're doing. I want to thank you for having the courage to say yes, to step up and say yes, because that's what it's about. You were meant to be right here, right now, doing this work. And not a lot of people say yes. So the fact that you're sitting here standing as a leader, standing in your power, you are living your purpose. You are doing what you're meant to do. And you just have to stand as a flame, and people are going to flock around you, and they're going to remember that they're a flame too. So thank you for just standing bright and letting go of all the doubt, all the fear, all the shame, all the I can't, and the disbeliefs that make you feel like you can't do this. Like, it takes work and to stand right where you're at. And I just want to acknowledge you first and foremost for doing the work.
Wow. Thank you. I very, totally humbled in that, and I appreciate it. It feels nice to be recognized that, I'm one of those people standing, but so are you. So are so many people, right? And I think, what's really interesting is you mentioned something there, saying yes and kind of shedding yourself of the fears and the problems and the challenges that you're facing on a day-to-day basis. And what I got to say to that is, that's not a process that happens one time and then you're done and now you're past it and now you're the next Oprah. It's like, no, it's a process that happens on a daily basis, right? I have fears, I have insecurities, I have doubts about different things, but that voice is so quiet compared to the voice that is now ignited on a day-to-day basis that it is so easier. It is much easier for me to overcome. But it doesn't mean that they're not there. It doesn't mean that I don't experience them. It's just that they're whispers compared to the bullhorn that is like, we need to change this planet. We need to kind of deal with carbon sequestration and climate change. We need to be able to spread ideas of market gardening and permaculture and regeneration around the globe. We need to literally find ways and solutions to move past the narrative, the story that says that we are the cancer of this world or something like that. It's like, yeah, we have this problem, but we cannot focus on the issue that creates. We have to focus on the real tangible things that we can do about it. And it just seems so difficult to get that message out there. And what I noticed is that many of these movements that that have this message, right? Many of these eco villages that are out there that have started, or intentional communities or projects or philanthropreneurial endeavors, what I always tend to find is one of the challenges that they seem to have is distribution. They seem to have this message, but they have a hard time getting it out there. They have a hard time kind of making it go mainstream or making it go as viral as some mass terrorist attack, unfortunately. And it's because we somehow we love, as humans, we love to pay attention to the things that are going wrong in the world. And we give little credence to the people who are doing right. And, I said it earlier, but, all of you who are watching this Facebook Live, and whether you're watching it right now or later, you're voting with your attention. Every like, every comment, every time you stop and scroll, and every single moment that you are doing that, you are voting. And you're going to only see more and more and more of that if you stop and like. So recognize that if you smash that like button right now, if this message is resonating with you now, your comments, your likes, your participation in things like Karma Tribe change everything. It changes everything. And it seems like such a micro action. It seems like so insignificant in all the world's problems and challenges, but it's not, because it ignites people like me to be like, wow, people care, people know, people recognize this work. And sometimes it's nice that they recognize me. It was the other day, I was filming Jason Silva literally yesterday or whatever, the day before on Friday. And I was there and somebody was like, hey, I know you. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. It's amazing that this message can carry. And what the hippie movement or the kind of revolution that happened in the 60s and 70s didn't have this. They didn't have the ability to pull out a phone and go live and spread a message around the world. But they also didn't have the same level of noise that this also creates. You know what I mean? There's so much noise that social media creates. So you gotta vote with your attention.
For sure. Might I add something?
Please.
So what they did have, though, is the inspiration to get off their ass and go stand in be in face, protest, do these things.
Yes.
And that's where I feel like we are bridging the gaps right now. That's what Karma Tribe's about, is getting
100%.
people. We get the people and we organize them.
Mm-hmm.
We're using this amazing tool of networking, this amazing tool of marketing, and we're inspiring people to get out from behind their computer screens and make a difference in the world.
Yeah.
Internet is fucking amazing. Excuse my French, mom, if you're watching. But it's incredible. It's a net. We're using this net and gathering us all together so we can create that change and be that change. You know, like Gandhi would join Karma Tribe for sure. I know he would. And Gandhi would definitely be a part of what you're creating. And it's all about bridging that gap for us to do this together. So my question to you with what you're creating, you know, because we're all putting the pieces together and all the other pieces are laid out. What's the missing piece for you?
Wow. Yeah, I get this question all the time. I think over time that my answer has evolved. My answer has evolved. I used to get that question, and then I would think about me. I would be like, oh, what do I need? And I'm like, oh, I can use a little bit more camera gear. I could use a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Maybe some, free flight to Bali. That would be helpful. Whatever. I don't know. Right. And I would come up with like a list of items that I could think of that I truly needed. Or maybe I don't want to even say the word needed, that I wanted is the better word. But the thing that I do need, and I think it's a thing that we all need, is we need more people to actually join. And to join by bringing something to the table and leveraging something. And it seems like that's what Karma Tribe is about. It's like, it's a thing to not only list what you have, but then to also kind of share it and accept the gifts of other people. And I think we need to understand that your gifts, as you're listening to this, every single one of you has this unique gift that you can bring to the world, right? You have it in you, and it is your responsibility to share that gift with the world. It is your responsibility to literally make that gift become your life and overtake you, and allow that to kind of empower you to be a part of this movement. You see, every day at the farm, we need more people to help us plant more trees. Every day, we always need more people to help us do more video work on social media to get the word out there. Every day, we need more people to help us with our accounting. Every day, we need more people to participate in showing up at these gatherings. Like, I'm going to a gathering in Costa Rica called Envision, which I'll be at, right? An amazing festival, super awesome. Please go check out Envision for those of you who haven't heard about it, before. It's an amazing gathering, and we need more people to participate. We need to pool resources. And I think the number one thing I need people to understand is that we should be doing it together.
Yep.
Right? That brands like Walmart and McDonald's and brands that you might feel are ruining the world, and in some ways totally are, they're brands because they're like a flag that represents a group of people who have decided to work together to build whatever it is that company, whatever company it is, does. And so the truth is that our flag, right, is not Valhalla. It's not anything else. It's freedom culture. It's this idea of freedom culture and spreading that word, that message that you can be free, that it is your duty to do such, that it is your duty to live that passion and to bring it to the world. And it is also your duty to vote with your attention, with your dollars, with your time, with your energy, to vote with that attention. Because recognizing that is the key. Right now, this is the currency that matters, because where your attention goes, all the marketing and dollars and investments and everything flows. And as we all started paying attention to like Tesla, it became the America's biggest car company. It became like a thing just because we believed in somebody like Elon Musk, and they don't spend any money on marketing. So they take all that money and put it into innovation, and they just keep innovating. They keep pushing it forward. But if we weren't there being like, yes, we believe in you, if we weren't there investing our dollars in their stock or buying their cars, then it wouldn't happen. Mm-hmm. And so we voted, even though we're all this disconnected tribe, we really truly are connected here, right? We are connected, and that's what the internet is a physical and digital manifestation of that exact thing. And so we're living a power of connectivity that we can tear down any government, any company that literally does anything if we unite and we show up. And you mentioned it earlier, we have to show up in person too. It's not just, we can't just be armchair activists either. We can't just be liking and thinking that solved everything. We have to show up and show up to the spaces and places and meet the faces of people who believe like we do, and believe the same things we do.
Awesome. I couldn't agree more with you, and I'm super excited and happy that we were able to have you as a guest. I feel a beautiful alliance coming on with everything that we're co-creating together, because we can't do this alone. This isn't my flagship, your flagship, this or that. It's all of us coming together as one to do this. We are
Absolutely.
We're literally gathering around the world to do this. And it just, hearing your story, hearing what you guys are doing, being able to connect to this space is just an affirmation that, oh man, this is just the spark. We're about to let this thing ablaze. I can't wait to meet you at Envision as well. We're gonna be doing some things. We'll stay in contact and touch. But without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and introduce the main man himself, Mr. Dave. Thank you so much, Mark. And woo, yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Oh, Mark, quite a man.
Thank you.
It's been so inspirational listening to your responses and your big vision for the future. And it was so interesting what you said about how the thing that keeps you going every day, gets you waking up in the morning and everything is it's because you're working towards something bigger than yourself, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what a lot of people are missing. They're missing that deeper fire that comes from thinking beyond your little world, thinking how you can really make a positive impact on others.
Yeah, I think because when I have to wake up for just me, there's many days where I'm like, I don't want to wake up. I don't want to do anything. I just want to watch whatever, Black Mirror on Netflix or something. And that's great. Like, that's super fun and exciting. But when people are depending on you, when people are counting on you to show up, when either you've hired them or you told them that you were going to meet them somewhere, or you said you were going to help out with something or whatever, when people are paying attention just as they are here, it keeps that flame going even when you're not feeling so strong, and there's no doubt about the fact that here and there, I don't feel great all the time. I still fight some form of depression, some form of like anxiety and anger towards the system and towards just everything in some moments. But I overcome that by recognizing that I'm not alone. I overcome that by recognizing that doesn't serve me, that just complaining and pointing to the problem doesn't serve me, because every single time I point at a problem, every single time you point your finger, there are 3 fingers pointing back at you. So that concept of recognizing, like, it's the government's fault, it's the bank's fault, it's their fault, it's other people's fault. And the reality is that, no, it's my responsibility, and I get to play a role. And it doesn't have to be a tragedy that I get to play a role. I just get to do it. I get to show up.
Wow. So, like, you also said that it's everyone's responsibility to share their gifts with the world. Mm-hmm. I totally agree with that. I think that, this more beautiful world that we're all dreaming of can truly come forward by sharing our gifts and by uniting together. Mm-hmm. But a thing that I hear a lot is from people saying, well, that sounds great, but I really don't know what my gift is. I'm not sure if I have a gift.
Yeah.
I hear that a surprising amount.
All the time.
And like, what do you say to those people?
Well, I tend to, instead of telling people what their gift is, because it's impossible for me to ever say that, I tend to ask questions. And the fastest and easiest question I ask is, if money were no object, what would you do? What would you do right now? If you could do absolutely anything, you could dream up the impossible, what would that look like? And I think the answer is that a lot of people are trying to figure out one specific thing. They're like, well, I'm not sure that this is the thing, so they don't commit to anything. They have this problem with this opportunity cost that, I need to find my higher purpose. Mm-hmm. And I actually find that word kind of bastardizes the effort that it takes to do that, because there is no one thing that you want to do. I mean, how I discovered mine was I wrote out something I called an impossible list. And you could go check it out on superheroacademy.net/impossible-list. We can link it or whatever below. But if you check out Superhero Academy, I wrote down my own impossible list. And I made it free for people to do theirs. And what an impossible list is it's a list of challenges. It's not a bucket list. It really is a list of challenges that I'm going to take on in different categories of my life that I'm going to make happen. Now, I might die before all of them happen. I might not be able to make all of them happen. They're not all quite impossible. Some of them are totally possible. It's like having a family. That's totally a reasonable, possible thing. But they seem impossible to me from my perspective of where I was or where I am at any given moment at the moment. And so it's just this list of challenges that I'm going to take on for the world, for me, for my community, for my legacy, for everything that matters to me, and slowly but surely just chip away at. You know what I mean? Like there's no easy way to eat an elephant. Like you have to just eat it one bite at a time. There's no easy way to go down the path that is your higher purpose. There is no easy way to figure it out. There's no easy way to get paid to do it. There's no easy way to do it. And all that bullshit that you find online of like, here's a fast way that you could travel the world to do this. No. It's like, well, no. Like there's no quick, fast way, but here's the fastest way. I'll tell you what the fastest way is. You have to decide. You have to commit to something and you have to decide, I am going to do this thing that is arbitrary thing you're going to invent, and I'm going to do it relentlessly for the next 90 days. And I'm going to see how I feel about it in 90 days. But I'm not going to change course constantly. I'm not going to question my decision a million times over. I'm not going to be in this position of, what if I don't want to do this in 45 years? Who the hell is making decisions of what they need to do in 45 years? You don't know. 10 years ago, the iPhones barely existed. Like we invented YouTube and iPhones about 10 years ago. So how could you possibly predict what you would be doing if you're like an app developer today? You couldn't. You could not know what was coming. And you might have a hunch, you might have a hint of what's going to happen in 25 years. And I'll tell you, if we don't do anything with climate change or other things, we're going to be in a real problem. But the reality is that it's not one thing. But so pick something and start doing it. Start walking that path and recognizing that you can live it right now. And that even if you knew nothing about it, just like I knew nothing about planting trees and building eco villages, and I knew nothing about social media, I knew nothing about anything, even though I studied marketing in university, all we did was case studies. I never posted anything on Facebook for that. Never built a website in university. We didn't learn jack shit. You know what I mean? University would just taught me more about what I didn't need to do. So stop thinking that you need a training or a program from anybody else. What you need is accountability and tribe. And that's what Superhero Academy is about. It gives you the knowledge, right? It gives you what you need to know. Yeah, there's techniques to online marketing. Facebook Lives do better than a link. Why? Well, there's reasons, and I can explain those reasons to you. But it's not enough for me to give you the knowledge, right? Just in the exact same way that everyone knows what it takes to have six-pack abs, but not everyone has them. And it's not because they don't know. They know that if they eat more kale and they do more sit-ups and they do it every damn day, that they would have a six-pack. But they don't. They don't because they don't have anybody keeping them accountable. They're not betting on themselves. Because I guarantee you, if they're paying $500 a month to a personal trainer, they're going to show up and they're going to have that damn six-pack. Because they have something on the line. They bet on themselves. They committed. So how are you committing, the viewer who is listening to this, how are you committing right here, right now to what that is? You know, I'm not trying to point the finger at you. I'm trying to extend my hand out to you and say, hey, I'm listening. I get it. I was there. I didn't know either. I still don't know all the time. And I'm still inventing it just as much as you are each and every single day. But I choose to commit. I choose that I'm going to build this school. I choose I'm going to build this eco-village. And over time, it evolves. It gets better and better and better, and more people join. And it just creates such a massive opportunity. And it's important.
So Mark, let me ask you one last question. I want to be respectful of your time here. I could talk to you all day. There's so much.
We could take all the time in the world. Don't worry about it.
But like another thing that struck me in your videos and in kind of investigating Superhero Academy, Valhalla movement, is that it seems like you're surrounded by other amazing people, other amazing leaders. And you're not doing it alone. You have like an amazing team. And I saw like I saw the fire in the eyes of each of those people that are in those videos, and it seems like a pretty big group of people. So
Yeah.
how the heck did you build that, like, that inner circle of the tribe, that kind of like leadership team where everyone's aligned? How did you do that?
Yeah, that's a great question. To be honest, half of the time I'm thinking about how I did it myself. I think it naturally happened is the first thing. And the reason why it naturally happens is because I've always approached business, life, everything that I do with this one philosophy, which is to receive, I must first give. That is the number one philosophy that has guided everything that I understood to be the number one way. And it seems like it's the foundational principle of Karma Tribe. To get, I must give. And it sounds crazy, but that is abundance. Abundance is that no matter how much you have, you give. That's what abundance is. It's not about how much you have. It's not about whether or not you have enough to eat at all. It has everything to do with your mentality internally, in your heart, in your mind, in your space, in your ether, whatever way you want to see it. It is about the idea that no matter how much you have, you give. So if you're the homeless man on the street and you have a piece of bread and there's another homeless man next to you, you split it in half, you give it to them. That's why that person will get off the street. That's how that karmic law is going to reward this person. And so how I built a team of amazing superheroes around me is I have one very good skill set. Number one, I'm able to tell stories. The second thing is I'm very, 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 very capable of understanding who and what superpowers people have. And when I see the superpowers they have, I see not only what they can do, but I can also see what their kryptonites might look like. I could see where they're challenged. And then I connect people who need each other constantly. I've always leveraged the superhero skills that other people had to kind of enable them to do the things that they told me they wanted to do, not the things I said that they should do, right? When I planted the tree and people started showing up, I didn't say, hey, do you want to like start farming with me? I was like, hey, what do you want to do? Like, what do you see that you're excited about? And somebody was like, oh, I like beekeeping, or I want to build an airship, or I want to do this, or whatever it was. And so instead of trying to box people in, instead of trying to build a team, instead of building a role, I've always flowed into the spaces of understanding what people want. What is the win that would make it a win for them? How can I enable that win? And then how can I find a way for that win to enable me too? And that's how I've been able to hire people. I've always received an enormous amount. I feel super blessed and fortunate, people call it privilege or whatever it is. Sure. It's all of those things. And it's my concept of just constantly giving more and more and more. It's just every single time. And I'm challenged in it every day. I'm challenged in it today. My business, everything has grown. The amount of people I reach online has grown. Everything that every metric outside of me has grown, including myself internally. And yet the challenge still remains the same, no matter what level of the game you're playing at, because you're always challenged to do more. You're always challenged to expand, and it always feels slightly uncomfortable. And so I look at and try and find the edges of my comfort zone, and I just go there. And then I try and find the edges of other people's comfort zone, and I invite them to go just a little bit further. So instead of throwing them out into deep waters and hoping that they swim, I invite them through mentorships and through things that, through Superhero Academy. I do that. And then I let them interact. I recognize that half the time I just need to step back and just let people chat and interact and communicate in a community. And that's super important. There's many things I could talk about. Like we have a role at Valhalla and in all the organizations I'm part of called Chief Cultural Officer, where, their role is to build company culture and recognizing that if we're going to spread freedom culture, that we have to have good culture internally too. It seems to make sense, but the idea of how much that is overlooked, how much that we forget about that, does manifest. And I forget about it. If I can wake up every day and do anything, it's work. I love working. I love doing what I do. And so anything that distracts me from that sometimes, torments me. And at the exact same time, I'm learning how to play again. I'm learning how to get back to that space and that energy of recognizing that, hey, I have to trust others. I have to delegate. I have to give opportunity to others to do the things that they want to do for the tribe. And that is not only giving them a gift, but that's enabling them to live their own freedom culture. And that's where their organizations will grow. The new paradigm organizations like Karma Tribe, Valhalla movement, Superhero Academy, all that stuff will grow through that kind of lens and mentality. That is the company of the future, and we will see more and more giant corporations fail at the David and Goliath feeling of the smaller ones.
March, thank you so much for your wise words, and yeah, you're a testament to the power of generosity, because you're helping so many people, lighting so many fires, and it seems like your life is blossoming also, and it seems like you're having a lot of fun, and I'm so happy to know you. I'm so happy to call you a friend now, hopefully.
Yeah, of course. Clearly, yes, we are clearly friends.
And so thank you so much for sharing. Thanks for being so transparent and honest about the challenges you go through, the emotional highs and lows. I think there's tremendous power to also being vulnerable and being aware of the challenges one is going through instead of just blocking them. So thanks for being the way you are, and thanks for sharing with us today.
Well, and thank you for having me. Thank you, and thank you so much for what you guys do. I mean, like I said, I've never been on a Facebook Live where somebody had so much energy coming into it, and that's the kind of energy that's going to carry what you do forward too. And so I want to honor the fact that you're taking your time to do this too. You're taking your time to interview and share the stories of people who deserve to be heard. And it seems like that's one of the roles that you're playing within the greater community, and I appreciate it and I honor it. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mark. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
So have a fantastic day. Best of luck in all your upcoming endeavors. Hope to see you at Envision, definitely, and hope to have you on the show again in the near future.
Absolutely. And for those of you who are looking, superheroacademy.net, that's where you can find me.
We'll link it up.
Link it up somewhere. If you want to find it, you will find it, I'm sure. So yeah, I mean, thank you so much, everyone. And thank you so much for your time and showing up, all of you who are around the world, and commenting, liking, all that kind of stuff. It's super helpful. Like I said, you guys vote with your attention, and today you gave me yours. So with great honor, thank you so much.
Thank you, Mark. Oh, wow. What a guy. What a show. If you're tuning in now, please let us know where you're watching from in the comments. It's such a pleasure to know like where this message is reaching to. I'm feeling like totally like grounded. I don't even feel like I'm doing a Facebook Live. I'm feeling like just grounded by all of that wisdom that he shared with us, and by realizing like it's time. Like we all have a role to play in creating this new society that we dream of, and it's time for us to step up and be the change. So without any further ado, I would like to call on Carly for the favors of the week.
Woohoo! Hi again, guys. Speaking of being, you were thanking Mark for being so transparent and honest. So speaking of that, this week, for favors of the week, it's actually a little bit unusual because this week we have lots of requests. So thanks for making requests and being vulnerable and honest and transparent and putting out what you need.
Exactly. So this is all services that have been generously offered on karmatribe.com. They're all available online for anyone to snag, because it's time to communicate between supply and demand. It's time for people to, if they have something to share, to find that person that needs their help, and someone that needs help to find who can help them. And that's the purpose of Karma Tribe, to connect people through kindness.
All right.
So what's available today?
Woo! Okay, let's see. First one is a request from Gabby from Santa Ana, Costa Rica, for logo design. I'm looking for a personalized logo for my blog. Something simple but nice.
Aww.
Awesome. If you can help Gabby with her logo design, please help her out.
Next, we have a request from Sundar in India for Amazon self-publishing help. He says, I want some technical help for publishing my book on Amazon. So hopefully there's someone out there who can help him.
Cool.
That's
I
really
love
cool.
seeing where these requests are coming from. An offer from Manije, online business and lifestyle transformation coaching. I will help you find your unique talent and overcome your fears. So cool.
Wow.
Business and lifestyle transformation coaching. So if you're looking for some of that, you can get it online.
Such a beautiful offer. Okay, we have a request here from straight from Guatemala City. We have Christy asking for Spanish lessons. Habla español? Ayúdala, Christy. Por favor. Help this girl. She says, I need more practice speaking Spanish. I'm looking for someone to practice with.
Very cool. Someone please practice with Christy. All right, this is our last one for today. All right, a request from Enrique in Alajuela. Improve English skills. I want to become fluent in this lovely language. So someone please help Enrique with his English.
Well, to state the obvious, perhaps Enrique and Christy should get together and help each other. Look at that.
Connections being made.
Well, quite a show today, Carly.
That was a rockin' show. That was awesome. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as we did.
Yeah. Thank you very much for tuning in with us. It's been a pleasure to share this moment with you. An honor to have Mark on here. And yeah, see you next week.
See you next week.
Have a great day. Bye.